Hey home builder, Jon Markee here, your Builder CPA, and today I'm going to talk about 10 things I hate about QuickBooks Online as of now, as of the day of this recording. I know that QuickBooks changes their features often, but these are things that have been pretty consistent over the last couple of years, and maybe in light of this video, they will be inspired to make some changes. So first of all, I know that they are leaning into AI, which is great. I support everyone using AI. I'm a little salty about the tone that they've taken against accountants that have partnered with them for years and decades up until now, because the AI features are really lacking. For example, bank feed auto categorization is a joke. So not long ago, they turned on this feature across most of my clients where transactions in the bank feed were just automatically getting added without any review from a human being, which, that's fine if the data is correct. The problem is we had transactions from the same vendor that were getting booked to different accounts. We had transactions from vendors that had always been booked to a certain expense category, all of a sudden getting booked to something different, even when we had set up a default expense category in the vendor profile. So I'm not sure if this has been fully rectified, but unfortunately I had to turn off all of the auto categorization settings across all of my clients because it was a complete disaster. Every builder that I work with has slightly different categorization criteria. Some people will categorize something as office supplies. Other people will categorize it as overhead or something slightly different. So I think there is a true challenge here with QuickBooks trying to learn every single builder QuickBooks account and how they use it, because everyone has a different chart of accounts. But the degree of inconsistency in the way that these bank feed transactions were added to the ledger is astonishing. So if you have any kind of auto categorization setting enabled with QuickBooks, just make sure that you're looking through that account detail at least on a monthly basis, because you might be surprised at the categories that your transactions are ending up in. And on that note, with the bank feed, I'm still surprised that transactions can pop up in the bank feed that were previously entered in QuickBooks, albeit months ago, and QuickBooks has no idea, and they try to inspire you to add it as a new transaction when it already exists. So just be on high alert with anything in your bank feeds. The next thing I hate about QuickBooks Online right now is that the new reporting tool that is getting rolled out inconsistently from client to client is really glitchy. It doesn't make sense. All of a sudden, the time period, the default time period is year to date meaning today. And I don't know a single home builder who keeps their books up to date through today. And even if we lean into this broken auto add setting in the bank feed, I highly doubt that the financials for that full period are correct. So previously, when you ran a P&L, it would default to last month. And I think that was probably a good place for it. If we try to lump sum year to date to today, I think there's going to be a lot of missing transactions. The next thing I hate about QuickBooks Online as of today is that the report insights are comical. So I appreciate the initiative here. QuickBooks is trying to show you that some categories are higher or lower compared to last year. And for some people that might be helpful, but they provide absolutely no insight on how to make corrective action. They don't interpret it like all of a sudden, if your rent expense tripled, it will tell you that your rent expense tripled, but by that point you might already be aware of that. And it's not telling you anything that you can actually take action on. It seems like a lot of extra noise. So I'm not sure what they're trying to do with this. Hopefully it improves soon. The next thing I hate about QuickBooks Online is that it seems like with every new person who signs up for QuickBooks Online, the default chart of accounts is crazy wrong. It's like way too standardized, way too complicated, or maybe it's just never a right fit. If you try to sign up for a QuickBooks account, the chart of accounts is almost never going to serve you right out of the gate. And they just give you all of these categories that you may or may not need. And there's really no good way to make quick edits to get your chart of accounts to where it needs to be. And a lot of times I find home builders who have been using QuickBooks for years and they have this crazy long chart of accounts that makes no sense. And if they take their financials to a bank to try to get a line of credit, they are laughed out the door because they have like a general account for purchases or it just blows my mind the way that the chart of accounts is lacking most home builders. The next thing that I hate about QuickBooks Online is that they have become so pushy with trying to get you to pay your bills through QuickBooks Online. And it might even be a halfway decent tool, but I couldn't believe it. I made like one accidental click on a bill at one point, and all I would have to do is make one more click and money would have gone out the door. So that is terrifying. A lot of people don't realize this. I feel like this is some kind of ploy just to earn fees on bill payments. So this is highly predatory. So just be really careful if you have bills entered in QuickBooks Online and you're not ready to pay them yet. The next thing I hate about QuickBooks Online is these weird off the record rumors that I've heard, I can't say, from people who work at Intuit or have worked at Intuit, who basically say that offshore QuickBooks employees are stealing their customer information to make purchases. This is just wild, but it has to be true because it actually happened to me. So I had a QuickBooks Online checking account and someone stole the account information and made like 100 purchases at Netflix. And apparently this is not all that uncommon. People in other countries who work for Intuit are stealing customer bank info and buying things. It's usually at online retailers, according to the rumor, Netflix, Amazon, Uber, like these places that can issue gift cards. And if you are not, if a week goes by where you don't log into your QuickBooks account, you might log in to be shocked that your QuickBooks checking account is all of a sudden $500 less because some random employee stole your banking information and bought stuff. This is just wild. So that is a huge negative for QuickBooks Online right now. And speaking of QuickBooks Online related payment situations, I'm also hearing situations where customers have done chargebacks. If you don't know what a chargeback is, try to Google it. So there's a chargeback that you can do using a credit card, but there's also a chargeback for an ACH transaction. Come to find out, there's way fewer protections on an ACH chargeback than there is for a credit card. And I know a lot of home builders accept payments through ACH because the fees are significantly less. Usually they're capped at a certain amount, whereas a credit card surcharge is a certain percentage. But apparently the ACH processing has a lot fewer protections. So it used to be if 90 days had passed, no one had right to make a ACH chargeback period. But now I'm hearing stories that QuickBooks is allowing chargebacks to go through. They're not even doing anything to stop it. They're not giving you any potential to argue the chargeback. So you could just wake up one day and all of a sudden an entire draw payment has been charged back by your homeowner from more than 3 months ago. So just be aware of that. If you're accepting payments through QuickBooks Payments, be very careful, know who you're working with, try to have some trust that they are not going to do a chargeback, because basically if someone does a chargeback on an ACH, there is little to no protection available for you. And the way that things work in construction, materials are so expensive. This could be a $50,000, $100,000 draw payment, all of a sudden just getting sucked out of your bank account with little or no remediation from QuickBooks or any bank. So just be careful with that. Another thing that I hated about QuickBooks this past 1099 season is the new 1099 tool. We have long used QuickBooks to process all of our 1099s for all of our clients, and this past year was just incredibly difficult. It's like they tried to implement AI, it was trying to be smart, but it was just totally wrong. Just nothing worked the way that it should have. So hopefully this will improve. Then another thing that has really surprised me with the implementation of AI that QuickBooks is going for is the fact that I've come across bank reconciliations where there are uncleared transactions on the reconciliation from months or years ago. I feel like there should be some kind of an alert that QuickBooks gives you that says, hey, your reconciliation shows that you received a $20,000 payment 4 months ago, but it has not hit your bank account. It's factored into your financial results, which are now wrong. Are you going to get the $20,000 or not? Because if you're not going to get the $20,000, your P&L needs to be adjusted downward. Most people don't realize that uncleared transactions still factor into your profit and loss statement. So it just baffles me that QuickBooks allows these uncleared transactions to stay on the reconciliation with basically no alert to anyone. You could plug in your ending bank balance into the reconciliation at every month. You can technically reconcile it perfectly with a variance of 0, but all of these uncleared transactions just sit forever. And so yes, technically you reconcile, but your profit and loss, your balance sheet, they're totally wrong because those reports still factor in these uncleared transactions. And then finally, the other struggle that I'm having, the last most hated thing about QuickBooks Online is undeposited funds. I just cannot believe AI has not been used here to alert you when you have something stuck in undeposited funds. I cannot believe AI is not being used to try to group things that are sitting in undeposited funds. If you deposit 3 checks together, why is there not some kind of AI tool that looks to see if any of the bank deposits sum up to the 3 transactions that are in undeposited funds? Or for our Builder users who are accepting payments through Builder, there's usually a $15 fee for accepting a payment through Builder. Builder creates a journal entry that goes into undeposited funds, and it needs to be netted against the invoice payment. Why does QuickBooks not understand that the sum of those 2 items in undeposited funds matches a total deposit in the bank feed? That just blows my mind. So hopefully someone at Intuit will come across this video and they will be able to improve these things, and this video will hopefully be outdated soon. But as of now, these are my 10 biggest hates of QuickBooks Online. If you're thinking about subscribing to QuickBooks Online, I hope this is useful. It's still a great software. I love most of it, but it is not quite all that they market it to be. So thanks for watching and have a great day.